Good afternoon. Thank you guys for coming to our new Mainers session. We have the pleasure to have Jackie Shannon from Maine Community Foundation, who administers the Adult Learner Scholarship. And we have Sarah, I don't want to mispronounce your name,
Sarah Singer.
Singa from Prosperity of Maine, and she is the scholarship coordinator for the Prosper Scholarship. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and ask you guys some questions because a lot of us, when working with students, sometimes we're unaware of how, to apply for this Prosperity of Scholarship, who is eligible, and does it cover only SMCC or does it cover USM? So we want to just get familiar of how students could apply for the scholarship and how they can, better search for their scholarship, the scholarship view. So the first question is, when working with students, what is the best measures for students and how can they be successful during their scholarship search? And it could be both of you guys, so you can take turns.
I could go first. I'm just gonna speak for the Prosper Scholarship that we offer at Prosperity Maine. So what we do mostly to increase the success rate, or maybe just to make sure the information is out there, we make sure that prior to the opening of the application time, that we have information on our website. We publish it on the on our what am I trying to say? Our social media platforms. And then another thing is that I also made sure, like, because right now the application is open and it's gonna close March 30th. So at the beginning, which was in December, I made sure to do some outreach and go to different schools, which is SMCC, CMCC. I even have a student from York Community County College. And so I go to those different schools. I talk about the Prosper Scholarship, and then I also I talk to the current recipient to kind of put the news out there to their friends at school, in the community, that the Prosper Scholarship is open and people can apply. Students can apply. And then we have this year we did an info session which we held like 2 times. The info session, it's a time where we invite people who are interested in applying, or people from different schools or adult education, to come and learn everything that you need to know about the scholarship, how to apply, what is the scholarship all about, who qualifies, and all of that. So by the time the application closes, everybody really has all the information that they need to have. It's already out there, and I'm always available at work also to sit down with people who have questions or have a hard time applying, filling out the application, to help them through that whole process. So I don't know if I answered the question.
On our side, for the Maine Community Foundation scholarships, especially the adult learner, it's all online. You'd go to our website and go to the scholarships tab that's on the banner across the top, and that'll bring you to a list of regions, a list of scholarships by type, and a list of just a couple of our special scholarships that you can go on. Those are all links divided by region, particularly county, and also available statewide. And I always tell people to really look at every single one of those links that might apply to you. So don't just click on the link of the county you live in right now. Also click on, if you graduated from high school in the state of Maine, click on those links that are for the county that the high school was in. Also the county you live in now, because we do have some scholarships. It doesn't matter where you live, it matters where you graduated high school. But we have some that it does matter where you live. So click on those, click on available statewide. And then that adult learner link, it's right at the very top. It's the first one listed. Click on that one. And the adult learner program is an umbrella program that has a whole bunch of different scholarship funds that feed into that. And you only have to fill out one application for that. So you fill out that one adult learner application, you apply to all of those funds that might that feed into that umbrella program. You have to fill out an eligibility quiz. You only have to meet one of the eligibility criteria to be considered an adult learner. So there are 5 or 6 of them. There is over the age of 25, have a dependent other than a spouse, be working at least 30 hours a week. So you could be 18 and working 30 hours a week and be considered an adult learner. You only have to meet one of the criteria. Have a other than a traditional high school diploma, so a GED or a high set, and have taken some time off after high school, other than just a gap year. So again, you only have to meet one of those. You don't have to meet 5, you don't have to meet 3, just one of those will qualify you as an adult learner. And the other thing is that we don't require the FAFSA. So, and we don't require citizenship, and we don't ask for immigration status. So you can be eligible for all of those scholarships without filling out a FAFSA. If you can, and if you're eligible, you should. And it asks for that FAFSA information. But if you don't have it, you can skip it. And it doesn't matter if you don't have it.
Mm-hmm. That was just the next follow-up question, eligibility. So for the Prosper Scholarship, is it for any asylum seeker? Is it only 2 years, or is it 4-year scholarship?
Yeah, for the Prosper Scholarship, it's only 2 years. It doesn't have to be at a community college. It could be at USM. The school just has to be in Maine, and it has to be an accredited university. And you have to be somebody who is still seeking for asylum. So let's say if you've already been approved for asylum, unfortunately, you don't qualify. You have to be, one of the things that we require to see is to see your work permit, or to see the receipt that you've already sent in your asylum case. Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. So for anybody so I think this is great to talk about, because a lot of students are confusing the Prosper Scholarship, where I can only use it for USM. So you're saying that they can use it for all the USM, like USM, for 4 years instead of 2.
No. So the scholarship is only for 2 years. And
Okay.
I see where the confusion comes in, because I think Claude is the founder of the Prosper Scholarship, and I think what he had in mind starting this scholarship is that he was hoping that if I start with a student, I can see them through until the end. And since the scholarship is only good for 2 years, that is only possible if, let's say, you are at USM and you've completed the first 2 years, and you probably need help with the last 2 years. Or let's say you get it and you're almost in your last year. But for someone who is entering USM, what we kind of require from them is to try to show us that they have another scholarship that will be added to the Prosper Scholarship, so that we are guaranteed that we're not going to kind of leave them, hanging in the second year or third year, and they have to drop out because they don't have a way to continue. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's only good for 2 years, and it pays for tuition, fees, and books.
Okay, that's great to know. The next question is, what is the best practice to engage families who are FAFSA ineligible? Like, how do you provide resources for them to have access to filling out applications and language barriers? I know it's a lot, so let me know if you want me to slow down.
Yeah, so we do offer scholarship workshops and open office hours for people to just pop in and ask questions to apply for our scholarships. Those are all listed on our website. If you go to the scholarships tab again, there's a little orange button that says upcoming scholarship workshops. So click on that. The links for the virtual office hours are right on that list. But again, I mean, it's optional. The FAFSA is completely optional. Even if you are eligible for the FAFSA, but as a family you're choosing not to do it, you can still apply. And then we're available for any questions. For actual, we unfortunately are not offering a ton of multilingual. We do have, one of my interns speaks French and Lingala. And so she can, have conversations, but that's it. I don't have anybody else who speaks other languages. So that's a real, kind of a flaw right now that we need to work on, but
It's for Prosperity Maine. We almost all the staff there, they speak almost all the languages that are spoken in the different communities. So it's easy to engage with these families. Unfortunately, we don't have an actual staff that sits down with you and helps you to go through the whole FAFSA application. So what I have been doing with some families that I came into contact with is that I always make sure to put them in touch with maybe a financial advisor at whatever university they're trying to have their children go to. And once I make that connection, I make sure that whoever I put them in contact with has a way to get access to an interpreter, so that they can help those families. But as far as students, most of them don't have any language problem. It's the problem is just the confusion because the application is long and there are some things if you've never been in the education system in the US, you will also be confused even if you speak the language. So those ones I tell them to go to the school. If it's at SMCC or USM, find their financial advisor or financial counselor, anybody there in the financial department should be able to help them or to guide them where they can get help from and get it covered.
And I know we talked about deadlines and things. Can you both just clarify like which scholarships are available and the deadlines and also the award, the amount of the award?
Yeah. For us, we have just the Prosper Scholarship. The application opened December 1st and it's closing March 30th. And that's also an information that's right on the website. We have the Prosper Scholarship has two components. We have the academic scholarship and then we have the professional training scholarship. The professional training one is open all year round, and that's for people who are trying to get maybe, let's say, a CDL certificate, or they're trying to go to maybe to ANTI to do those like 6 months courses and stuff like that. And that one, we just require the institution has to be accredited and it has to be in Maine. And as far as the amount, we don't have an actual amount that's awarded to a student. We as I said before, we just cover all the tuition, fees, and books. So we pay directly to the school, so the money never goes to the student, it goes to the institution.
Yeah, so same, the scholarships for us go directly to the institution, but any overage can be refunded directly to the student to pay for books and other fees. And it can also include things like indirect education costs, like transportation, like childcare, that kind of stuff. So that gets refunded to the student, but it originally goes directly to the school. So our scholarships, we have about 740 different scholarships. So we, and they all kind of have different deadlines. So if they're run through the school, through a high school, a student would have to go to their guidance counselor, the guidance office, scholarship office, college office, whatever they have at their high school, to ask about that. Our online scholarships, kind of vary. The first deadline is April 1st. And then it goes April 15th, May 1st, May 15th, June 1st, June 15th. So, and June 15th is our last deadline. So the adult learner umbrella program goes from April 1st to June 15th. So that online application is not open yet. So I have started to get quite a few emails being like, I know I'm eligible, but it's not popping up for me. It will not pop up until April 1st. So if you fill out that eligibility quiz and then it comes up, you're not eligible for anything, wait until April 1st and then take that eligibility thing again. But some of all of our other scholarships, all of them are open right now. They all opened October 7th, I think, and the first deadline will be April 1st. So a good one, for example, is we have a lot of people going into healthcare, which is awesome. And that's available for anybody who is attending a school in Maine, if they're not from Maine. So if they're not from Maine, they graduated somewhere else, it doesn't matter where, going into healthcare and attending a university in Maine, they're eligible for the Francis Langlois Scholarship. It's a renewable scholarship for 4 years. That deadline is June 15th. But you can get that one and the adult learner one at the same time. So you can get as many of our scholarships as you are awarded at the same time. You don't have to get just one. So you can kind of, stack them and pay for a lot. Same thing with, quite a few others. Like if you graduate from a high school in Maine, and, you can get a ton of other scholarships. If you're going into healthcare, you can get that Langlois one. If you are going to a school in the University of Maine system or MMA or the community college system, you can get as a graduating senior, you can get the Chet Jordan Leadership Award. Those things, again, they're just stackable. You can get as many as you're awarded. You can apply for 10 of them and get awarded 10 of them. So, they all kind of have different eligibility and they're all open right now, except adult learner. That will be open April 1st.
I know you guys talked about eligibility, so I know some scholarships you have to be living in Maine for a year or two. Do you guys have any of that requirement for scholarships?
So our adult learner, you do have to be a resident, you do have to live in Maine. It doesn't matter how long you've lived in Maine, but you do have to live in Maine. So I do tend to get a lot of inquiries from people who are moving to Maine. I'm gonna go to USM or I'm gonna go to SMCC, but right now I live wherever else. You can't apply and you're not eligible until you have a residence in Maine. But once you're here, you can definitely apply. And some of our others, all of the eligibility for all of those scholarships are listed on our website. But the adult learner is just resident of Maine. Some of the others, you have to be a resident of a certain town or you have to be attending a certain college, but the adult learner is pretty wide, that eligibility.
Same with the Prosper Scholarship. You just have to be living in Maine. It doesn't matter how long you've lived here for, or you could just be moving as long as you have an address that shows that you live in Maine. And your school, the school has to be in Maine for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, anything you want to let us know about your cool programs and what you provide for students. And I think from my last session, Jackie, I remember that you were saying for the adult learner for the high school students, they don't have to do, because some students are like, I'm not writing an essay. And these students, so you can do a video if you like. So talk about that, because I know it's all on the website, but I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, what we were really running into with our committees was that they were really focusing on like grammar, like they were really focusing on not so much on what the essay said, but on what it looked like. And so to kind of take that out, we thought, we'll give people the option if they want to do a video or if they want to do an essay. And we've definitely had some takers. Some of the younger, the graduating high school seniors are excited about the video because that's like where they live anyway. And then we've got some of the adults who are like, I am not going on video. So it's been kind of, it's available. It's available for whoever wants it. We also require, like I said, we don't require the FAFSA, but we do require a transcript But if you don't have a transcript, just email me and we'll figure it out. Like it can be a screenshot of your class schedule or your grades from the last year. Like we will figure it out if you don't have it. And especially with adult learners, sometimes they're like, I graduated 30 years ago in, California. Like there's no way I can get my transcript. Like we'll figure it out. A lot of them, like even the adult learner, requires a letter of recommendation, but the adult learner one is not like, you don't have to ask someone to write you a letter. It's a form that they fill out, which is like on a scale of 1 to 5, this candidate, is good at making a plan. On a scale of 1 to 5, this candidate, shows like, hard work or I forget exactly the questions, but and that gets emailed directly to the person that you're asking to fill out that form. Less than 10 minutes. It's not a huge lift. And then we tell people for a letter of recommendation, ask someone to send it to you, right? Like some schools, and I really kind of pushed this last week on the in-person session, that the policy that students can't read their letters of recommendation is it's so silly. I don't understand it. Like, because for one, like why should students not see the nice things that you think about them? But also like you're making it's just so difficult because say you've got, you're applying for 6 scholarships and you either have to ask 6 different people or you have to ask a person to do something 6 times. Right? So have that person send you a letter of recommendation that doesn't list the exact scholarship that you're applying for, make that part kind of generic and have them speak to your strengths and then send you a PDF version of it. And then you can upload it to all 6 of your scholarships, right? You can use the same letter of recommendation for all of them. The transcript doesn't have to be official, like I said. Yeah, I mean, if you can't figure something out, just email me and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way around it, or I can help you get it. Some people don't know where to start on getting some of this information. Some people say, I don't have anybody who can write me a letter of recommendation. I have nobody. And I'm like, that's not true. You have somebody. Like there's, a neighbor. Like, do you talk to your neighbor every morning? Do you help your neighbor bring out their trash can in the morning? Like your neighbor can fill out this form. So if anybody has like questions or they don't know where to start, they can always email us. Always go onto our virtual office hours. I feel like it's quick. Yes, you can have my email. Yeah, those virtual office hours are like you don't have to stay there for the full 2 hours of the virtual office hours. Pop in, ask your question and leave. You know what I mean? Like it's just a quick link and the interns are there for the entire amount of time. So, and it could be that 1 hour, 5 people show up, but that's fine. They're still going to be there for that entire amount of time just to answer your question. So it's a quick pop in type thing. We're trying to make it, as easy and barrier free as possible, I think.
Right. And that's the thing that gets students a little bit like caught off guard. It's the extent of paperwork. Because I could see somebody filling out the application and then they have to create an account, they have to do this, they have to get that. By the time they get through all of this, they're like, I don't want to do this scholarship anymore. It's just so much. So that is a great idea with saving the PDF of that letter of recommendation.
And Jackie, I had a quick question. Are there some income guidelines?
Not really. So especially not on the adult learner. We do have one for Waldo County that is need-based. It's for low-income students. But for the most part, none of them have an income guideline.
Oh.
So, we have our funds that have different eligibilities. And if we were to have 2 candidates for scholarship and we had to choose between them and they were like pretty equal in all ways, we would probably look at need, right? We would probably say this scholarship will be more impactful for this student. But as long as the money's there for us to award, we don't look at need.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a great question. Anything else that we missed that you want to share and you didn't get? Any questions that our guests have? for the panelists?
I do want to say that if you work for a school or an adult ed or really any agency or a school at all, and our interns have not come to do a workshop at your school or your organization yet, you could please just get a hold of me and we'll set something up.
Excellent. Well, I don't see any very many questions right now, but folks, feel free to add some questions as we go along. And Florica, I think I'm going to set up the presentation for you, and Flo's going to talk a little bit about what we at FAME can do to help New Mainer students to cover college costs and some of the great things that she's put together. Give me 1 second to find the presentation. All right, actually, go back here. And again, feel free to put stuff into chat to ask questions. I don't know if I missed anything along the way, but I think we covered it all. All right. Beautiful. Just so many steps to share my screen. All right. Excellent.
So now we'll get to talk about what resources we have for New Mainers. We're gonna visit the the Free College New Mainers website, which has a lot of great information. We're gonna talk about paying for college, and then also talking about parents without social security number and how that reflects when creating an FSA ID, and then the New Mainer resources, and then Q&As that we have built in to answer all the questions that you needed, and other resources.
Excellent. And I want to say, so we have about 20 minutes left, and we have so much, Flo has so much to share. Know that if we don't get it all done in this presentation, this entire PowerPoint will be available on our website under the FA 101 page. So you can feel free to browse it and get all of this great information right from there as well.
So as we know, the Free College Initiative is still on for the individuals who are graduated and graduating. So the class of 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. The Free College is 100% free, and that is free and is 100% free tuition and mandatory fees. Asylum seekers are eligible for this free college, and sometimes working with students, they're unaware that they're eligible. So asylum seekers can't get this scholarship. So I can think of the Prosperity, like an asylum seeker could do 2 of the free college and then apply for another 2 for the Prosper. So that would work great for those individuals. And for individuals who want to use the free college for any of the community college, they would just have to contact the school advisor and work with them. They would just have to sign a form saying that they're not eligible, and then they will override that.
And that would be the same for undocumented students as well.
Undocumented students, yes, thank you. You always get that. I'm sorry, the undocumented students as well.
Excellent. So any student who can't file a FAFSA can still get free community college.
Yes. And then to be eligible for the free college, so it's anybody who also has a GED and HiSET. So those individuals who are graduating from adult learner, they are eligible for the free college. You must live in Maine for the time that you enroll for the program. So if somebody moves in their senior year from another state, they would just have to be there by the time they graduate their senior year. Somebody can't graduate from another state and then move here and utilize the free college. They have to accept all federal grants. So this is your Pell Grant, anything else, Maine State Grant. And then for those who are not eligible, they just don't have to. They will just get that override. And then for students who are not eligible, like I said, they could utilize this free college, and they don't need to file a FAFSA. Before, students who weren't eligible for the FAFSA back then, 2023, everybody was filing a FAFSA, so they don't need to do that. Instead, they can just contact somebody at SMCC and get that done to document their special circumstance, or an undocumented student would have to do that.
That advisor flow, would it be in the financial aid office usually?
Yes, an advisor at the financial aid office. So what I did one time, I was working with somebody from Eastern Maine Community College, and they wanted, they were having a lot of issues, and then we ended up emailing the financial aid office, and then they override that information. Because sometimes students are very, they don't want to tell somebody, hey, I'm an asylum seeker or I'm undocumented student. So I think doing like sending an email to the financial aid office, that is more, personal, instead of calling in on the phone. My name is X, Y, and Z, and explaining their citizenship questions. So calling the office and emailing is appropriate. And then this is where we get, so if you go to faymaine.com/newmainers, and then you guys guess this. So faymaine/newmainers, it just came up when I was doing a video. So I was doing a video on paying for college, and then I said, you can go to faymaine.com/newmainers. And Milo was like, we don't have that link. And so they went and created a link. So now you can directly go to faymaine.com/newmainers. And then when you access the page, it's going to be a little bit information about me. And then there's going to be like on this column right here, where it's like to my left, there's going to be what's listed here. It's going to be listed getting ready for college, paying for college, credential evaluation, resources, and etc. And then this is the other page, just kind of going in depth. So this is for college going information. So what we put here is sometimes, I think Rowan is calling me, but I think he's fine. So this is higher education is a system is structured very different in the United States. So I have families where I'm working with them. They're like, well, I don't know what a junior college is or a community college. I know it seems so simple to us, us who went to school here, but unfortunately that simple question is very hard for those individuals. So we put here like different types of institute. So we explain what a 2-year college is, and we explain what a 4-year college is. And we also explain what a 4-year college is and the admission criteria that they need in each college. And following that, we also put in the special programs that are available on that campus. So Talent Search, those are programs working with middle school students, the Upward Bound, working with high school students, and Student Support Services, which is available at the college. So kind of individual who's going to college, so they know what resources they have at their school so they can get that support they need. And also for families to talk about, what type of college, or like, what are we going to do? Are we going to do private, public, etc.? And once you do that, this is our other paying for college. So you see here on the left, this is the section that we are in. So this is my favorite page because when working with students, most of the time, they're unaware of their eligibility for the FAFSA. So most of the time, students find out that they're not eligible for the FAFSA senior year. So this is very critical because I don't think families, they have so much going on. They're not sitting down and explaining, hey, listen, we're asylum seekers. We haven't been granted asylum. And so what this does is it'll ask you, are you eligible for the FAFSA? And when you say you're eligible, it'll take you right to the FAFSA page. So if you can go to the next page, Jessica. And then
No, it doesn't.
I think that's skipped, but it's fine. And then it will say if you're eligible, it'll take you right to the FAFSA page. And when you say no, you're not eligible, there's going to be 7 questions that is listed to determine eligibility. So the next page. Yep. Yeah.
Hold on, it's here. It's here somewhere. So we saw it last time. There we go.
There it is. So I think we can skip the SSN, or we can go back.
Yeah, we'll come back to it if we have time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So when you say you're unsure of your eligibility, there's going to be 7 questions here, and it's going to be followed by each question. So I'll ask you, are you a U.S. citizen? If you are, you say yes, then it will take you right to fill out the FAFSA. And if you say no, then it would ask you several questions. There's about 7 questions. And then if you answer all no to 7, then it will direct you to resources right here. But sometimes we're working with students who are like, okay, it says no to all 7 questions, but I'm unaware of like what documents I need. So we have in question 3 right here, it said, are you a US permanent resident or with a form I-55? So once you click on view samples, it will show you what those documents look like for students to realize they're, like if they have the right documents. So if you say, oh, I'm not sure what a permanent resident is or a green card, you can click on that to see what the eligible documents are. A lot of times students, once looking at this, they'll have a social security number, but they think it's a regular social security number. But that social security number is usually for work purposes only. And so this is why I think having this example here kind of helps them wean that out. And once they answer no to all 7, and then if you go to the next page, it will take them to the resources. And this is where students could say, okay, I'm not eligible for federal student aid, so let's look at school. What school choices do I have? Can I do 2 years of free college? Can I apply for scholarship? What scholarship do I want to apply to? They can apply for the Promise. And we also put that contact here. We also put the Adult Learner Scholarship and where to access that scholarship. I think we also highlight Prosperity of Maine too for individuals to utilize that. And then we also talk with students on pay as you go, because sometimes this is where students can have the talk with their family and say, hey, I can't afford, to go to 4 years. So how about we maybe take classes at USM? Let's pay for 1 class. Do I need to be a full-time student or a part-time student? Talk about that. And also if parents are working and they're doing, if they have educational benefits, tuition waiver, tuition reimbursement. If family received that, that's great. We talked about it last time, like jobs like McDonald's, Burger King, Starbucks, Best Buy. We also have that in our website with list of things. So these jobs are providing tuition reimbursement. In most cases, these jobs, you have to be there, there's a time limit, and these jobs, you would pay for the class and then they will reimburse you. So they can't just give you a check to go apply for that. So that's important. Even Burger King has like a scholarship for individuals. So I suggest students who are, working in these roles to check with their HR to see, and also their parents. Sometimes they might have educational benefits for their family members and etc. And this is our scholarship that we have in our New Mainers page. So when we talk about scholarship, we want you to check out your local high school and guidance office. Also look at the colleges that the student is attending to see if they have scholarships available. Like this is where I would recommend students who are like, I'm going into nursing. So yes, look at the nursing department to see if they have scholarships available. Or I want to do engineering. So those majors that have scholarships available for students, it's really great to look at the financial aid office to see what scholarship and the school site. Sometimes they have scholarships available. What I realized too is talking to the financial aid office is sometimes they might have scholarships that is just geared towards those students. It's not publicized on their website, but these individuals, by picking up the phone or even sending an email, letting the college know about their special circumstance, that somebody could say, hey, there is a scholarship actually available for these students, and we have that and they can apply. And also employer and parents jobs. Yeah. Why am I think because sometimes when somebody pops in Zoom, it's like, oh, and then you, oh, anyway.
Hi, Rowan.
Hi. And then we also have faith-based institutes. Those sometimes, people who practice at certain institutes that they might have scholarships available. So one of the key things I learned is just talking. By talking sometimes or introducing yourself in these type of organizations, there might be a scholarship that we're unaware of. And also your local service organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, etc. Those places could have a lot of scholarships available for individuals. And this site that we have here, we listed scholarship that is just geared towards asylum seekers. So people who are not eligible for the FAFSA. And most cases, these other scholarships that are available, you would have to, just the eligibility, you have to be living here for a year, 6 months, or you have to be a US citizen. So these scholarships are, I can point one here, like the Avesta Housing. The Avesta Housing gives up like $1,000 for anybody who lives at the Avesta Housing complex. And then we also have the Portland Housing Scholarship. So it's anybody who lives at the Portland Public Housing. And the Avesta Housing is not, it's one time, but the Portland Public Housing is renewable every year. So those are great scholarships to kind of connect students with. And what we have too on this website is a scholarship tracker that I just created. So students sometimes are just like, I applied for so many scholarships, I don't know where it is. They can use this tracker to keep everything. And I can even contest to this being in the adult learner committee. What we saw a long time ago is we had people who missed the deadline for renewals and they will send their application in late, but then we can't renew those applications. So deadlines is very crucial for students. So using that link helps to keep that information, up to date. Next slide.
Well, actually, Flo, can we take a little break? Again, we've got a few more things about the rest of what's on Flo's fantastic website, but we were just joined by Rowan Henry from Portland Public Schools. And so I was thinking we'll give Rowan the last 5 minutes or so to talk a little bit about the program that he works with and any advice he can offer on how best to work with our New Mainer students. You should be able to unmute. Can you, I'm going to ask you to unmute, Rowan. Hold on.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat quickly about the program. So I'm the director of Make It Happen, which is a college preparedness program that's under the umbrella of the multilingual services here in Portland, Maine. And what I like to tell the students that we do is we create an environment where they can achieve any of their post-secondary goals and aspirations beyond that. And we do that by providing a space where students can come and they can get services from coaches to help them with their present classes, but they could also get help with filling out the FAFSA or filling out applications for colleges and scholarships. It's pretty much we're like a one-stop shop where students can get pretty much all of their needs met. But one of the things that I think is the most important that we provide is a safe space. So students will come to us, and I think it's so important that they have a safe space, a place where they are valued for who they are and that their identities are brought to the surface, is because from there, it's like a platform, a launching platform where there's endless possibilities. And so I think it's just creating a room. For example, yesterday I was at Casco Bay and we had a meeting, a Make It Happen meeting with multiple grades. And the purpose of that meeting was to set norms for the room. And so the students were able to ask, what is it that we're doing that that's helpful? And they could tell us what are some of the things that could change to improve the service that we provide for them. And so that's what I mean when I say creating a safe space, because in most spaces in the school, students don't have an input on how the space is run. And so that's just one way that we create a space that they get a sense of belonging. a feeling of belonging to.
Yeah, it's very important that students do have space. So like as we were talking earlier, having that space, having that space for students, do you think by having, a space where students could come, does that really provide productivity to their work, like applying for FAFSA? Like, so how does having space, make room for students to succeed?
Okay, so for example, they can come to that space, and there is an understanding because they've helped to create the norms in that space, so that there's an understanding that they're not going to be judged for what they don't know, and and no question is silly, or no question. So they're coming to a space where the site coordinators um, have established that you can ask us anything. You can ask us something 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and that's okay. And so when the students have that sense that you just explained this portion of the college essay, but I want to ask it again to make sure that I understand how to write this portion of the college essay, and they feel that sense like, yeah, I'm accepted for who I am, for my my strengths, for things I need to work on. And so yes, I do think it makes a huge difference to go into a space that recognizes you and takes into account your voice. I think it builds confidence, and then kids from that confidence, there's it's unlimited of what questions kids ask, and what they are willing to pursue. I think it makes a huge difference.
I also have the opportunity to kind of be in the Make It Happen room and see how that peer-to-peer support kind of underlines with like students just being successful. Because like I could see, Jackie, you said you guys have you have interns that go do workshop. So I think for students it's more like seeing, somebody like them at their age group, or somebody who just graduated coming and talking to them. And that kind of helps them to motivate and gives them that mirror to kind of view themselves and be like, oh, they did it, I could do it too.
Yeah, Felica, I think thank you for bringing that up, because that's essential. Is we have students that are seniors who will talk to the juniors, and the juniors will talk to the sophomores and the freshmen. And when we have meetings, oftentimes it's student led. Oftentimes, I will sit there, and the other coordinators and the students will lead it, because we understand that it's so powerful to have another student who's gone through the process that, or is going to go through the process that you have just gone through, speaking to you about it. So thank you for bringing that up, Felica.
Yeah. Any questions? Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, and can I thank all of you guys for all of your voices? I think this has been a wonderful opportunity to really get a chance to look at all the ways that we can work with our new Manor students and give them all of the support that we possibly can. So we appreciate all of you joining us today.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to stop this recording.